to help you to understand the traffic warrant, the one we talked about last time, traffic warrant number 1, which is the 8-hour warrant, and we solved the problem given in the NCEES. And the flow chart that I will go over very quick, and I will be glad to go over it again one more time after you print it. I believe it will strengthen your understanding about this traffic warrant. So let me put it, and I will go over it very quick, because maybe some of you did not get a chance to print it, at least when you are studying, because you need to study. You need to sit and study and challenge yourself. So the 9 warrants for the traffic signal, as outlined in MUTCD 2009 part 4, they came up with these 9 warrants in order to ensure that we are applying the regulations and the need for a signal to be installed at any given intersection. So warrant number 1 is the most comprehensive one, and I consider it is a little bit tricky. So the code, or the MUTCD, define 2 streets. One is called major street and one is called minor street. And the first thing I will look for, where is the minor and where is the major in the given problem, like the NCEES. I should know also the direction. If there is any north arrow, I prefer to put the north arrow. They didn't put the north arrow, but this is not a big deal. But if the north arrow is given, they need to know the direction, because we need to know the eastbound and the westbound, northbound and southbound. The warrant number 1, which is 8-hour vehicular volume, the general rule is any 8 hours for an average day. Okay? These 8 hours, not necessarily to be consecutive hours. Any 8 hours, any. From 1 to 2, and I will skip between 2 and 3. I can go to 3 and 4. Any 8 hours. But it must be within 24 hours, okay, of an average day. Of an average day. The word average day we talked about last time. So any, the word any is important also. Okay? Any 8 hours. Okay. When you look to the volumes, it must be the same 8 hours for both approaches of the major street. You will see some problems. The NCEES problem, as you know, the one we solved it last time, it does have the volumes given. Let me bring the table that related to the problem that we worked last time, and I'm sure that you still remember the problem. And here it is. Here he is nice, because he gave me the total vehicles for major street. You will find some problems in my books. They will give you, if this is a major, he will give you this approach and this approach. So this approach here, which is a westbound approach, and this is the eastbound approach. The code is telling me the volume of both approaches. This yellow, you add this plus this along the major street. But this approach must be for the same hour. I don't take the approach here between 1 and 2 and this between 3 and 4. No. It must be the total volume for both approaches within the hour you are talking about. It's not pick and choose. So if you are given this, it could be given in 2 columns, the eastbound and the westbound. And after that, you need to add them the total. But when you add them, you add it for the same hour. I cannot pick the east approach from 7 to 8 and the west between 8 and 9. No, it's not big, it's not max. This is something very important. Okay, so we need to be aware of that. This is mentioned in the code. I did not invent these rules, or I did not invent these. Okay, so same 8 hours for both approaches on the major street. What about the minor street? Same 8 hours for any approach of the minor street. So the minor street, we pick only one approach. Okay, you will find that here. I say that this is called approach along the minor, and this is called approach along the minor. The code is telling me pick the larger volume, either this or this, because it's only one approach. So approach is one approach higher volume. If this is the approach that has a volume, I pick it, but I don't add them. This way, you see, the people who help me, I combine them together like this, and we wrote volume of both approaches. But here it is one approach only, the heavier approach. But we have to be careful. The hour that you pick here, it must be the same hour for this or this. I cannot go up and down again. I cannot say that, oh, this for the both approaches on the major will be between 8 and 9, and I'm going to pick this 105 here. No, you cannot. It must be the same hour. Do you remember the same hour? If this is the hour you are going to use as a criteria, pick the volume along the higher approach of the minor street for the same hour. I cannot go up and down. Are you following me? Yep. We need to pay attention to that. Okay. Those are the general rules that they came up with. Okay. And this illustration here, I hope it is helpful to you. If you flip the page, you will find that, by the way, let me just mention one thing before I leave this page. This is the condition A, which is the, if you look to the condition B, which they call it interruption of continuous traffic, it is the same thing as far as the major street. We pick both approaches. No change. Both. And for the minor, I pick the higher volume, either this or this. But I wrote something here. There's something that I wrote here in order to illustrate what is the logic behind the condition B. So this one here, major, and let me use the colors, at least you can same colors for the minor street. Okay, this is called approach, and this is called approach, and this is called approach, and this is called approach, but we add the two approaches together. But the intent from the condition B is that minor intersecting traffic suffers excessive delay or conflict in entering or crossing the major. This is the reason they came up with this. And if condition A has been satisfied, I met warrant number 1. If condition B met, I satisfied the warrant number 1. However, if you remember, there are 3 percentages. We have 100% and 70% and 80% and 56%. Okay, I need you to pay attention to the following, and this is given at the bottom of the table given. Okay, if you are going to use the 100% column, and this is 100% column, so warrant number 1 is satisfied if one of the following exists, either A or B. So 100%, the basic, they call it the basic minimum hourly volume. This or, the word or is very important because we're going to see and in just a minute. The same thing for the 70%. The 70%. Okay? 70% also, if the 70% column in condition A or the 70% in the condition B. Either one, I need only one, either this or this. And I need also this one. And we said last time, if in the problem statement, and this is what we did, the V major exceeding 45 miles per hour, or the population is less than 10,000, so we use the 70% column in place of the 100%. And this is what we did. I started with the 100% just to show you it will not meet the minimum volume required. You remember last time we did the 100% first, just to give you a taste. But in the problem statement, he said that the V major was 45 miles per hour. Do you remember the problem? Okay, so the moment that I read this in the problem statement, the 45, and he tried to confuse you because the population is 12,000. If I didn't pay attention to the word or, I will be confused. I say, oh, the population is less than 10,000. The population is greater than 12,000. It's 12,000. So is violating this. But I'm not violating this. And the court told me or. If I miss the word or, I will miss the problem. Are you following me? Okay, good. Okay, so the 100% and the 70%, either condition A or condition B. You don't have to have both. Now, if you go to the 80% and 56, the situation is different. Let's go to 80% and 56%. 56% also is used when the V major exceeding 40 miles per hour or the population is less than 10,000. 80, it does not have any requirement. You can use it instead of 100, instead of 70. But for the 80 and the 56, the word became and. So you have to have both columns of the 80% column of condition A and the 80% column of condition B. And if you decided to go with the 56%, in this case, if both are you following me? So 100% and 70% either A or B. But the 80 and 56%, you have to have both columns to be satisfied. Okay? In summary, I prepared this here. And I hope this is a good summary. I came up with this and somebody printed for me way back about 2 years ago. And I said, I'm going to finish all the warrants, but believe me, I'm so busy and didn't finish it. But if I finish, but this is the most difficult one. The others are easy one if I can find somebody to help me with the typing. But I prepared this 2 years ago and I gave it to the person here in office and back and forth to adjust it to make it nice. But I believe it's a good. Now, the 70 and the 100%, 70%, 100%, they go together. What I mean by go together, because this, they have the word or. But I can use this or this, it's up to me. But if I decided to use either this or this, I have the condition A or condition B, condition A or condition B. When I will use this, I will use this, as you know, when what? When the V major is 40 or the population. So here it is. This is and this is what we used. But if you jump to the 80 and the 56%, they go together. What I mean by go together? No, you can apply it by itself. But I'm saying if you go to 80, you have to same condition A and condition B together. The word and mean that the 80% column of the condition A and the 80% column of the condition B. This is what is meant they go together. These two, they must. The same story for the 56%. If you decided to use it, and the 56% also is used when this, so in this case, condition A and condition B. I hope this summary is clarifying the warrant one. Any question about that? Take it and print it. If for those who are online, those who are in Fresno here, they take, they already received it. And for those who are taking the class, again, I sent it to them last time, but I just sent it before I start the class. Before I said that I will send it, but I forgot completely. But it's a very good summary. And if I have time to finish all the 9 warrants, I will be glad to, in a form of flow chart like this. I found it very effective, and the engineers, they like it too much in the past because it was very confusing. But and when you start to solve problem, because this will not be with you on the exam, but you know you are visualizing right now. This concept or this flow chart or this requirement will not be very clear until you go and solve problems, or until you go to the swimming pool, as I said last time. Okay, so let us go to the swimming pool as many as you can, and there is no limit. Okay, there is no, and you can go to the swimming pool at midnight. Can you believe that? Can you go to the swimming pool? But this is the swimming pool of the transportation. Okay, it's not by your house or something. Last time we stopped at warrant number 5, which is 2 days ago. And I believe also I scanned the notes. I can't remember if I scanned the notes or not, or the email you or not. I'm working day and night, even as I told you that we are fasting nowadays, and Ramadan is very close to be over. About 9 days, 8 more days. 8 more days I will be eating and drinking again. Okay, no problem. Okay, so any question about from warrant number 1 to warrant number 2 to warrant number 3 to warrant number 4 to warrant number 5? If you don't have the MUTCD, I send it to you last time. I send you the MUTCD. Is this correct? Everybody got it? Yes. Okay, I send it to you. Please look at it, and you can read what the code says. If you have the original document, that's good news. If you don't have the original document already, I send it to you. And I hope that you are familiar with the tables that given in the MUTCD, and also I send you the HCM, the stuff from the HCM, and I hope all these things are helping you to prepare for the exam, because I need all of you to pass, and no more exams and no more. Okay, and I'm talking about this one here. This is a handout. I scan it and send it to you, which is taken from when I started talking last time. I talked about on page 436 of the MUTCD. This is a handout that taken from the MUTCD part 4, okay, and started here on page 435, page 35. Look at it. I hope that you have the original, but just in case. And I start by talking about this. These are the 2 tables that we went over them last time in my book. But okay, these are the table 4C1. This is a condition A and this condition B. We talked about all these things. And here the language here. The language, I picked it as close as I can and as verbatim as I can, because I need to maintain the language of the code without really interfering. Okay, and after that, the warrant number 2, which is a 4-hour. I highly recommend you to read the original document. Warrant number 3, maybe because I cannot copy the entire thing. I copy exactly what the copyright allow me to do. And after that, the graphs, as I told you, I hired somebody who scanned them and digitize them, and they should be very close if it's not exact. Okay, but here they are the figure 4C1 and 4C2. And this is the 70%, if you remember, 70% factor. And we wrote some. Try to write as much as you can while you are studying. And this is a warrant number. This for warrant number 2, obviously. Okay. And warrant number 3, the peak hour. Warrant number 3, the peak hour, this with the 70% factor. And the moment that you see the speed and the population, this is an indication that he is telling you go ahead and use the 70% factor. Okay, pedestrian, which is a warrant number 4. Okay, and the pedestrian, by the way, we do have 4 graphs. The pedestrian, we have 4 hours, and the 4 hours with the 70% factor. And we have the peak hour. If you flip the page, you will find there is a peak hour. Okay, for still warrant number 4. They call it and the 70% also for the peak hour. Because they realize that there are some incidents that maybe the rush hour where the pedestrians are leaving, or the public that are leaving their work or their schools or their businesses, and they would like to cross the street. So we need to provide